Okay. All
Thanks
right.
so much for joining us today. I'm Karin McCarthy, host of the Pivot and Thrive community. We support business owners in coming together and navigating uncertainty so that we can elevate business practices that work and bolster people's confidence so communities, individuals, and businesses can thrive. We are gathered today for a workshop on resilience, which is such an important skill and one that over the past year and more, we have just realized is so critical to human thriving, community thriving, and business success. Resilience isn't about staying the same, it's about changing and adapting. And so I'm really excited to have Rachel Fitch with us here today for this workshop. And we're recording today on Abenaki land, and we will have the ability to chat and have a Q&A. I hope that you will engage with Rachel beyond this workshop and have the opportunity to connect with her and the resources she has to offer. Thanks so much, Rachel, for joining us today.
Great. Thank you so much, Karin, for the intro and for teeing this up so beautifully. As Karin mentioned, my name is Rachel Fitch. I live here in Stowe, Vermont. And initially, I started my own business when my resilience was tested this past summer. My position that I'd held for 8 years at a large company here in Vermont was furloughed due to COVID, due to cutbacks that occurred as a result of COVID. And I was really challenged in that moment to find my resilience. And fortunately, at the same time, I was in the process of going through a coaching certification program. And so the tools that I'll be sharing with you today are some of the tools that I learned through my coaching program. I've shared them with clients that I've worked with who have been struggling to find their resilience right now. And I've also been able to share this with companies at their town hall meetings and other larger group settings. So we'll keep it informal today and feel free to jump in with questions as we go. Feel free as you're listening to the recording after the fact to reach out to me with any questions. My contact information will be at the end of this presentation. So this is around building resilience in challenging times. And so a couple of things that we'll be covering today. First of all, people can learn resilience. There are definite skills that you'll take away from this presentation that help you build your resilience and your ability to handle resilience or handle change when it comes your way. And then we'll talk about the ways that challenge and struggle can really shape, enrich us and build on our wisdom, build on our character, and how we can appreciate and take gratitude from that. And last, we'll be talking a little bit at the end about how you can also support the resilience in others. So oftentimes the questions that I get at the end are, I'm doing fine right now, but my mother-in-law could really use some support, or my kids could really use some support as they're trying to navigate education right now. So what can I do to help others? And so we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. So, as Karin mentioned, resilience isn't just about bouncing back the same. It's about bouncing back in a way that's going to help you pivot and dance with your current reality. And so, this is about bouncing back better. And this is about being able to respond to the changes in your environment. So we're going to just take a couple minutes since we have a few folks here, and I'm just curious if you're willing to share what are some of the things that you're finding or testing your resilience right now? Is there anything that comes to mind or anything that you'd be willing to share?
Well, beyond response in the pandemic and just keeping tabs of updated guidance and how to take care of family and um, the emotional um, load of caretaking with small families or young children or elders and people that we might not be physically near but have the desire to care for and love. And so I think that that is, just a huge weight that is put on folks in terms of um, what you're able to manage and manage well and carry on with. Um,
Mm.
but also just the unknown. I think we've had this time and space where the whole world is in this kind of liminal unknown, where we can't really plan for the future, and that is something that we're all experiencing universally, but maybe for the first time. And so I think that inability to plan for the future is um, another element to that makes this time really unique and tricky.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That need to kind of be nimble because it feels like the information that we're getting changes by the week. Maybe a little less so than it has been over the last 14 months. There were certainly some days that information we were getting were changing by the day and even sometimes by the hour, which felt really unstable. But even so, just being comfortable with a little bit of discomfort. Yeah, good. Kimberly, would you like to share anything that's testing your resilience right now?
Yeah, I think sorry, I just need a video break too, so I have my video off. My eyes are like,
No problem.
I think I echo the caretaking. I think from an entrepreneurial perspective, it's just the balancing the need to drive business while just being in this moment of I got to take care of myself too.
Mm,
That business moving forward is definitely testing my resilience for sure.
yeah, yeah. Really good point. And for me, I was telling Karin before we started, I just started a new job and I am putting my house on the market and moving 15 hours away to North Carolina later this summer. And so all of that has been a test of resilience too. Coming off of 7 months of furlough and trying to start my own business and deciding that that's not really the direction that I want to go. So there has been a lot of disruption in my world too. So I've been living this and continue to, but builds character. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing. And so, one of the concepts that just resonates with me so clearly is this idea of putting your own mask on first. And so it may be a while since some of us have gotten into a plane, but we probably all remember that safety warning or announcement that the flight attendants give prior to takeoff. Something like, in case of a loss of cabin pressure, put your own oxygen mask on first before helping others. And really, it's great advice because we often want to be helpful to others. We're often caretakers to others, and we often want to lessen the stress and pain that others are going through if we possibly can. At the same time, we often have a tendency to kind of push aside our own pain and discomfort in favor of helping others. But in order to really show up for people, especially in this area of resilience, and in order to be your most helpful, um, it's really best to focus on yourself first and figure out how you want to be showing up in this next chapter or when you've moved beyond the challenge. And so I would suggest that you think about putting your own oxygen mask on first, getting yourself to a place where you feel like the worst is behind you so that you can then show up more fully and be more present for others in their time of need. So just be thinking about that, be aware of that as we go today. All right. So, another thing to keep in mind is that, human beings were built to be resilient to a certain extent. However, there are factors and choices that we have control of that can increase our level of resilience. And so what we're talking about today, and you've probably all heard this term emotional intelligence. Well, today we're going to be using the word or the phrase resilience intelligence as we talk through resilience, because this is about building resilience intelligence, shifting our perspective. It's tempting to feel tossed around and in times of change or adversity. And so this is really about how you grab hold of this sense of intelligence around your own resilience and really gain some control for yourself at a time where, by definition, you may not feel like you have control. You have more than you think. So let's dig into that. So we're going to be using a model that I was able to get within my coaching program. I'm able to share it with you today. There is a handout. There's a link to this in the chat. So go ahead and pull that up if you can. We're going to be spending our session today really working with this tool. And so this is a tool that's helped me. This is a tool that's helped my clients that I've worked with. And it's nice to have a structure. It's nice to have a framework to think through resilience with. And so that's what we'll be doing today. So, this framework has, 3 pillars. So we're talking about the foundation, first of all, of resilience. And from there, we'll talk about the stages of resilience. And then lastly, we'll be talking about the path to recovery, how you move forward as you're facing the other end of that tunnel. And as we walk through this resilience pyramid today, think through it from the lens of a challenge that you're working through right now. That's the best way to work on this. Make it real. What is that challenge that you're wrestling with? What's really testing your resilience right now? And as we go through each segment of this pyramid, give yourself a grade. And feel free to print this off and write in the box. Give yourself a score of anywhere from 1 to 10. 1 meaning this is an area where I really need to do some work. 10 is this is a superpower for me and this is going to help me. So give yourself a grade in each box, and then at the end we're going to be talking about where it makes sense to focus your attention as you think through this challenge. So let's get started. So we'll start in the bottom left-hand corner in the foundation. And so this is really around the very concept of Pivot and Thrive and other communities that we're part of. LinkedIn, maybe it's your church, maybe it's other civic organizations, it's your family, your friends, your business colleagues, your network, your community, and really thinking through, who can I turn to when the going gets tough for me? Who will serve as a resource? Who serves as a sounding board? Who can help me negotiate this challenge. And the idea here is that, not only are networks important for, support, they are critically important for resources. And one of the reasons why this is key to the foundation is this is something that you can and should be doing well in advance of adversity. So you can really set yourself up nicely to be prepared when challenge strikes by having a strong community behind you already. And so it's just really nice to know that you have control over this, and you can really foster and feed this network. So take the time, especially now, to reach out to others. This is a dose of medicine I need to remind myself to take all the time, because it's easy to get comfortable and complacent when it comes to your network. But it's because of my network that it helped me get through that uncertainty of furlough, and I really tapped into my network when I was working to build my business, and had a lot of success in that regard because of my network, and really only because of my network. And the job that I have now, which is so gratifying, I only got because of tapping into my network. I never saw it advertised anywhere. It was never posted anywhere. I heard about it because I reached out to a friend and had a really good networking conversation, and it all kind of emerged from there. So it really does work. So give yourself a score here. To what degree have you built a strong support system, and to what degree are you regularly feeding that network to keep it strong? So 1 through 10, give yourself a number. All right. The next part of the foundation is having a belief in yourself. So if you think you can, chances are better that you will succeed. And so having confidence in yourself, having a belief in your own capabilities. And if you're not feeling confident in your own capabilities to handle challenge, what do you need to do now in order to prepare yourself? Do you need to go take a class? Do you need to build your skills and education in a certain area in order to feel more confident? Do you need to pay more attention to your LinkedIn site? Whatever the case may be, what do you need to do to build that belief and confidence in yourself? And also, this circles back to your community and the strength of that, because oftentimes there are people within our network or people in our lives who believe in us in certain times more than we believe in ourselves. And it's important to know who those people are. And it's important to be able to tap into the strength that they can give us and the confidence that they can give us in those tough times. So again, these two pieces of the pyramid work really nicely in concert together. Lastly, I would say, consider the quality of the support that you're getting from those people in your network. Some people are really good at verbal support. Other people back up the verbal with action. And those are the people who you really want to make sure that you, foster a strong relationship with. Those people are gold. All right. So give yourself a score here too. To what degree do you believe that you can work through the challenge facing you? How confident are you, if challenge comes, that you'll have the tools to move through it? And then who else can you lean on because of their strong belief in you? You feel like you have a handle on who those people are that you can rely on. So give yourself a number there. All right. So we're going to cruise through here. And let's move to the next level. So the second layer of the pyramid kind of talks about the challenge itself. So the first piece is getting clear around the challenge and really seeing it with a, a real perspective. Rose-colored glasses are lovely sometimes, but we really want to get real with ourselves about the situation that we're in and get clear on the challenge. So this concept of resilience, this picks up where the stages of grief leave off. So oftentimes when we're hit with adversity, the Kubler-Ross stages of grief are something that really go hand in hand with the challenge that we're facing. So oftentimes we are met with denial. This can't be true. This can't be happening to me. With anger, lashing out at people. You've done all the right things. How could this possibly happen? Bargaining, depression for a little while too, as we work through the challenge. And I heard all of these over and over again as many of my clients were handling the challenge that comes with COVID, or just dealing with the fallout from the pandemic. So, once you've worked your way through those things, you land with acceptance. So being able to accept the challenge that you have in front of you. And so who you're looking at here is Admiral Jim Stockdale. And he was a POW during the Vietnam War. And you've likely heard of Jim Collins' book, Good to Great. And for this book, Collins interviewed Admiral Stockdale. And so Collins said in his book, it just seemed so bleak, the uncertainty of his fate, the brutality of his captors, and so forth. How on earth did he deal with it? How did he deal with the adversity in this POW camp? And so Stockdale said, well, I never doubted not only that I would get out, but also that I would prevail in the end and turn the experience into the defining event of my life, which in retrospect, I would not trade. So showing real gratitude for the challenge in front of him because of its life-shaping opportunities here. And so Collins asked, who didn't make it out of these POW camps? And Stockdale said, well, it was the optimists, those rose-colored glasses people. They were the ones who said, oh, we'll be out by Christmas. And then Christmas would come and go. Oh, we'll be out by Easter. Then Easter would come and go. And then before you know it, the next Christmas would be coming on them. And they were still there in this awful camp. And so he said the optimists in the group really died of a broken heart. And it was the realists that knew that they had to prevail in the end, and that they saw their situation very, very clearly the whole time. So assess and accept the difficulty of the challenge in front of you, if in fact it is, and deal with it with courage. That's what we're saying here. So think about that challenge that's in front of you, and how clearly do you understand the full scope of it and the resources that you'll need to work your way through it. Give yourself a score. All right, let's move on to the next one. So the next one is around responsibility and accepting ownership for the outcome of the challenge in front of you. So again, it's really easy to blame others for the situation that you find yourself in. It's really easy to have regret for something that you could have done differently, maybe that would have put you in a different place, maybe not. But all of that stuff wastes a lot of time and energy if you stay churning in that place. And so the idea here is to let the past go, release the temptation to play the victim card, and really take hold of the opportunity, take hold of the future in front of you, so that you can focus your energy on solving the problem, getting past it, and creating a picture for yourself of what you want your life in reality to look like on the other side versus looking backwards. There's a reason why the windshield of a car is so much bigger than the rear view mirror. So think about it from that perspective. So again, I would challenge you, think about to what degree are you taking responsibility for the future outcome? To what degree are you looking through the windshield versus spending all your time peering through that tiny little rear view mirror? And give yourself a score. All right, the last one on this level is determination, getting clear on your purpose, knowing your why. You know, why is it important for you to work through this challenge? Because not every challenge that comes your way is worth it. And so you need to pick and choose the things that you're going to tackle, the things that you want to address. So, you know, I was thinking about this morning and thinking about motivation. So, you know, you've got intrinsic motivators, doing something for the sake of someone else or for a larger cause that often is more compelling for people than that conditional motivation, doing something for a short-term reward. So I was thinking about vaccination, actually, and I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately where they've been talking about this concept of vaccine hesitancy, or people who just can't find their way to get vaccinated for whatever reason. And I've heard a bunch of people batting around the idea, well, just give people $100 or give people a gift card to Panera or whatever to get vaccinated as a thank you. And it really struck me that, you know, that is a really great example of a conditional motivation, giving somebody a short-term reward for, I'm sorry about my phone, giving somebody a short-term reward for taking action that is for the good of everybody, versus those people who stepped up early or as early as they could and stood in line and wrestled with internet and lines and phone calls to get vaccinated, and so that they could go visit their mother at a nursing home, or so they could go see their grandkids, or whatever it is. Those are intrinsic motivators. Hang on, I'm going to mute for a second and turn off my landline totally if I can.
Yeah. No, that's fine. One thing we love is creating authentic opportunities to connect with each other, and we all show up in the real world. So thanks for being here with us, Rachel, and for everyone who's joined and connecting with us on the recording.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No problem.
All right. So anyway, knowing your why, knowing your motivation behind the goal. You know, is it an intrinsic motivator, or are you doing it for the benefit of a larger society or for your family, or are you doing it for a short-term reward? Because often the more intrinsic or larger scale why is more lasting and feels more rewarding. And then lastly, when you think about this, also think about what's going to keep you moving when times get tough. So circling back to your why and being able to tap into that why when you're met with adversity. So again, here, give yourself a score of 1 to 10. How are you doing in this area? Why are you pursuing the goal? How compelling is that goal to you? How clear are you on your why? All right, let's move to the top of the pyramid. I love this picture because this reminds me of a trip that my husband and I took a few years ago out to Seattle, out to Washington State, and we were able to watch the salmon swimming upstream to spawn in the fall. And this is just such a great example of feedback, because you know the salmon try to jump over these huge waterfalls, and sometimes they make it the first try, sometimes they don't, and they collect themselves back in the pool down at the bottom, and take another run at it, go at it from another direction. And what's interesting to me in thinking about that image was the path that worked for one salmon may not work for another. And so the path that works for somebody in getting through a similar challenge may not necessarily work for you. And so the idea here is we kind of move through the challenge and experiment with different solutions, is to find our own path out of it. And it may not work the first time for us. And so coming back to that pool, collecting ourselves, figuring out what we learned as a result of that run at the problem, and then taking another run in another direction. For me, when I was working to launch my own business, I realized that there were parts of having my own business that I loved. I loved doing the work and I loved delivering for clients. At the same time, what I didn't love is the marketing, the social media, the dealing with the money, the invoicing, all of that, that is as critically important to business as it is to deliver on the work that you're doing. And so that was important feedback for me. And so I went back to my little pool and I thought about that. And it's like, how do I want to show up as an entrepreneur if these types of things are a real struggle for me and I put them off and procrastinate? That's not helping. So I ended up getting a job as a consultant so that I could do the work that I love and not have to worry about all the aspects that I didn't like about being an entrepreneur. And so that was important feedback, and that really helped inform my path forward. But like I said, my path forward through this challenge isn't necessarily the same path somebody else would take. And so it's important to think about what stands out for you as you take a run up that waterfall, what you learn from each attempt, and then be creative about your next pass through. What are you going to take from that last attempt, and what are you going to leave behind and do something differently? So the other thing is getting feedback from others as well. And thinking about, as you think back to your community, who can you really tap into within that group who will give you honest feedback about the way that you're showing up in that moment, the way that you might want to move forward and help yourself. All right, so to what degree are you comfortable seeking feedback from others? And how willing are you to use that feedback to adapt your approach and change it up the next time? Make it work for you. So give yourself a score in that box, and we'll move to gratitude. So the last part of this pyramid is around finding a source of gratitude. You know, again, when we're in the thick of adversity, change, challenge, it's really, really hard to find the gratitude in that moment. But, you know, it is so helpful when it comes to thinking about the perspective that you want to take in that moment, to think about what are you learning from this opportunity? What can you take from this challenge that's going to make you stronger, better, more street smart, that's going to build your character? You know, when I think about my own path and when I think about my own my own sources of learning, the greatest learning that I've had has been in moments of deep adversity and change and challenge. And I think that's not unlike the situation that most people have. Most people learn the most from times of hardship and challenge versus when things are going sailing along. You don't learn a lot in those moments, frankly. You just have to sit back and enjoy them and appreciate them for what they are. So make a choice to look at the good and value what you have. Yeah, when I was furloughed and I was watching a bunch of TED Talks about resilience, there was a woman, and I can't remember her name. I wish I could, but if you go onto TED Talks and you search for resilience, you'll find her. I believe she's from New Zealand, and she's a researcher around resilience. And as she was researching resilience, her 13-year-old daughter was in a fatal car accident with her best friend and her best friend's mom. They got T-boned by a speeding car and they died immediately. And it's just crushingly awful to think about that. At the same time, she had this quote in bullet number 2, don't lose what you have to what you have lost. And she realized that in her grief, she was forgetting about the fact that she had another child still alive who needed her very much, who was also grieving. And so she realized in that moment, I'm about to lose what I already have to the grief that for somebody who I've lost. And so think about that when you're thinking about gratitude, when you're thinking about adversity, to make sure that you appreciate the things that you have and don't lose those to the things that you've lost. All right, so last little quadrant. What score would you give yourself here? To what degree are you grateful for the growth opportunities that challenge and adversity can provide? All right. So as you look at your resilience pyramid, what are you noticing in your scores? Where are you thriving? Where can you draw energy and strength? Because your numbers are high, this is an area of comfort for you. And then where are you noticing you could pay a little bit more attention? Is it around building your community, strengthening your network? Is it around building that sense of gratitude, building in more feedback, building a greater sense of confidence in yourself and your ability to tackle challenge? Does anyone on the call want to share what they're noticing with their pyramid? Is anyone comfortable doing that?
I just absolutely love the way that you have laid out and offered structure to self-auditing or giving an assessment, and the idea that we can continue to do this on an ongoing basis, and that when our cup feels empty, we can refill it. We can connect with ourselves, connect with the people around us, seek feedback, seek guidance, get support from community or from a trusted ally or resource. So I just think that what I absolutely love is we have a picture of where we are today, and we can continue to apply this as we move forward. And I love, first, I love the pictures that you have offered, and the provocations with the questions, I think are really helpful insights to be reflective, to think about our strengths, to think about how we use our brain as a muscle and cultivate the ways that we show up in the world and the way that we think, and how that our thoughts inform our behavior, inform the relationships that we create with others around us and with ourselves. And in investing in our mindset and the way that we show up in the world, we can create infinite growth opportunities, because when we see challenges, opportunities, it totally lifts the lid on what's possible for us to achieve, because we take away that not good enough, can't do it mindset, and we replace it with a growth mindset of I'm capable, I'm learning, I'm able, I haven't done it yet, but I see this for my future. And as you have described, having those skills and having that mindset really has incredible implications for how we're able to show up as individuals, as community members, as business owners. And I just think that's so powerful. I love that you started with community because community is such a foundation for well-being. Having a strong community is actually one of the strongest indicators of longevity. So if
Yes.
you think about how you support yourself in your immediate community, in your online community, in the way that you show up for other people, you have the power to support other people, and in those relationships to create reinforcing support for yourself. So I just love that that is nested as the foundation or part of the foundation for this pyramid, because I just think that it's so powerful, and it's why we're here.
Mhm.
And then really just having that clarity of purpose and being a part of something bigger is such a powerful calling, and something that really does, I think, inform getting through the thick of it. You know, if you have a picture of what you are contributing to, or how your this hardship is just a small part of an experience that supports something bigger, then we can get through so much more. So I just love the way that you've structured this pyramid, and I hope that folks will connect with you to gain more insights and tap into the skills and experience that you have in supporting resilience through skill building, behavior, mindset, and factoring in adaptation into how we show up in the world, because we can't stay the same. We have to adjust and recreate ourselves, reinvent ourselves to the new circumstances that are before us. So thank you so much, Rachel.
Yeah.
I love this workshop. And
Yeah.
I think you really depicted this transformation that we're able to do as individuals in a really beautiful way.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to touch just briefly here on just a couple more things, and that's around, what you can do to help others. So we talked at the beginning about putting your own mask on first. And so we've done that. And now that you have your own mask on and you have this structure and this model to help guide you through a process that can help you have more comfort around change. What can you do to help others too, who may not have these tools available to them? So knowing what you know now, um, how can you use your strengths to help others when they need you, when they need to develop their resilience? What message would you want to send to them? What would you want to share with them? And then as you think about your own resilience pyramid, what strengths have you identified that you could share with others? So maybe it's your sense of community, the strength within your community, and knowing that you could share that with other people, or you could help other people build their community, for example. Could you provide strength to others by radiating a belief in them, by conveying your confidence in their ability to work through this? Can you help others by providing feedback, by helping them show up better and stronger, maybe more creatively in the face of adversity? And then can you help others find a sense of gratitude around the challenge and help them see the bright side, if you will, the powerful side of challenge as they're going through it? So those are just some ideas of things that you can do to help others put their own masks on too when they're struggling.
Thank you so much, Rachel. This is just a gift
So,
to spend this time.
yeah, you're welcome. And I will just leave you with my contact information here as this loads, I think. Trying to get this to work. There we go. So my email address, my phone number, I'm on LinkedIn. Please reach out. I'm happy to talk. I'm a coach. I work with clients still, even though I'm not doing my own business thing. I still work with coaching clients, and I'm very happy to work with folks if they'd like to go deeper around this topic.
Fantastic.
So,
Thank you so much, Rachel. I really appreciate your time and for you sharing this insight with us. I think it's so valuable to come together and create the opportunity to tap into our strengths. Sometimes we forget, when we're faced with a challenge, we forget how we can show up in our strengths. And this was just timely, I think, for me, but I'm sure for so many people who are watching this, who can learn, new skills and find those questions to be an invitation to apply new changes, to take better care of yourself, your mindset, your approach to challenges, and to support yourself, to find ways that you can connect with other people to elevate what it is that you are capable of doing, which is so much. And we sometimes just need a reminder of that. So thank you so much for your time and for sharing this beautiful workshop.
Thanks for this opportunity. Appreciate it. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Take care.